Unit 3, Section 1. Classify triangles by their sides and angles. We're going to learn how we name a triangle. Let's get started. Begin with some vocabulary. A triangle is a shape formed by connecting three line segments. Triangle sum theorem, this is a theorem. It says that the sum of the measures of the interior angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. So all of the angles inside of a triangle equal 180 degrees. The base is the bottom of the triangle. The legs are the two sides of the triangle. Hypotenuse is the longest side of a right-angled triangle. It is the side which is opposite to the right angle. We'll definitely learn more about right-angled triangles in a couple of units. Altitude is a vocabulary word that means a line segment that goes from the vertex to an opposite side forming a right angle. Now, I want to show you what that looks like in a quick diagram, but if you have a triangle here, here is a vertex, so we're going to take it from the vertex to the opposite side, and it's going to form a right angle. We also call this the height of a triangle, but altitude is a vocabulary word you should know. All right, so looking back at the explanation, triangles are named for their sides and their angles. They have different names depending on whether you are using the sides or the angles. So you might get the question, name these triangles based on their sides, and then you might get the question, name these triangles based on their angles. And sometimes you can combine them to have a name with two parts, like your name, your first and your last name. So here's a very good visual that you're going to want to hold on to. Maybe you want to screenshot this and carry it over to your next section, or maybe you want to do something that will remind you what these are. So by sides, we have three. You can have an equilateral triangle. That's when your three sides are equal. Isosceles is when you have two equal sides, and scalene is when there are no equal sides. So that's actually pretty simple. 3 equal is equilateral, 2 is isosceles, and 1 is no equal sides is scalene. Then if we think about it by its angle, an acute triangle has 3 angles that are less than 90 degrees. A right triangle has 1 angle that's 90 degrees, and an obtuse triangle has 1 angle that is greater than 90 degrees. Let's take a look at an example. This example is naming triangles by their sides. The tick marks show you which sides are equal. If they have the same number of tick marks, then those sides are equal. So choose the name for each of the following triangles from the options given below. So number 1, we have scalene, equilateral, or isosceles. So let's take a look. I see that all 3 of the sides are equal, so that's going to be an equilateral triangle. Looking at the next one, I see that I have 2 sides that are equal because I have 2 tick marks that are equal. So 2 sides being equal would be an isosceles. This also happens to be a right angle triangle, but that wasn't one of the choices because we're not doing angles, we're doing sides. So that would be something we could maybe name, if we were naming it by angles, we would use right angle triangle. All right, once again, here we have 2 sides that are equal, that's isosceles. And finally, number 4, I see no tick marks, which means that that's telling me it's a scalene triangle. None of the sides are equal. All right, let's look at what to do when we're naming them by angles. Identify the triangles based on their angles. Less than 90 degrees is acute, larger than 90 degrees is obtuse, and a right angle is shown with a square. So I'm going to use some codes just to save some time, but this number 1, I can look and see that this has a right angle. So this is a right angled, and I'm just going to use the word right for now, a right angled triangle. I'm looking here and I see that 60, 60, and 60 tells me that this is an acute triangle because all of those angles are less than 90 degrees. If I look here, I see a 40, a 10, and a 140. Well, 140 is an obtuse, and you only need 1 in order to classify that as an obtuse triangle. Looking at number 4, 38, 50, and 92. This one's a tiny bit tricky because you might not think of 92 as being obtuse, but it is. You also see that 50 and 38 are both acute, but remember, for an acute triangle, all three need to be less than 90 degrees. So this is an obtuse triangle as well. And then I see 40, 60, and 80. Very good. So those are three angles less than 90 degrees. So that's an acute triangle. And I've got 60, 50, and 70. Once again, another acute triangle. All right. There is your exit ticket. Use your examples and your visual to help you complete this. Good luck.